reached out to a band. A band is what I'm going to say because we're live. And they want quite a bit more money than we've budgeted for. So we are still looking for a band to play that night. This particular group wanted $900. We just really can't afford that.
What type of music?
Right now we don't have a preference. We're kind of open to anything. We need something that's going to be able to keep a crowd of various ages.
I had the night shift band reach out to me and ask if you guys were looking for a performer.
I don't know if I've ever heard them. What kind of music do they have?
They do anything from oldies to classic rock to country western. They do some old country western. They do some top 40 country western. They learn songs if I ask them to.
Do you know how much they charge?
$600.
And Tim Kelly's band, Bluntful, plus he has another kind of a folky band that's in short at a similar rate, and he was kind of open on that date. And this Bluntful played at the Caveman Festival on Sunday. Oh, more like a 600. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that.
That's what they quoted me.
Oh, they did?
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. Gotcha.
So I did talk to the Colorado Workforce Center. They have given us permission to use their parking lot. Do we know if the tour buses are going to be where? Have we decided collectively yet?
I don't think so.
Anybody want to rock, paper, scissors for that little area next to the credit union?
I think, in talking through it, I think because the tours are so long, that we need to take off from the senior center to allow people to have restroom breaks, because we're gonna be doing an 1.5 to 2 hour tours. So if they're not, I think it might be best to take off from a logistical standpoint.
But we had discussed dropping them off downtown.
I mean, we still could, I guess, we just have to, we'll know if there's some accessibility issues, and then we can drop some downtown and
Okay.
drop the rest at
I
the senior
think it's
center.
good that they leave from the senior center.
Yeah.
But I think we should drop them off downtown.
Okay.
And
Yep.
even if they park over there, it's only, these aren't New York blocks or Vegas blocks, they're Atlanta blocks, it'll be okay. Then my idea, I wanted to have a cornhole tournament going on at the parking lot for the workforce center. I have a group that is willing to put that on completely without us having to do anything. That'll keep people downtown. I do know that they wanted to have alcohol there, but that's just not gonna be feasible. They can walk a building overnight from the beer garden. Speaking of the beer garden, the Chamber of Commerce has graciously volunteered to apply and pay for our beer permit.
Nice.
So we don't have to worry about that expenditure. You see a new face here, Daniel. I have asked to come and help us with our main stage. And he has quite the wonderful wife who wasn't able to be here with us today, but this is kind of her area of expertise as well. Daniel, do you have any ideas about what our all day long entertainment could look like?
Some ideas. I also wanted to pose some questions as far as, and I know I'm really late jumping into this whole gathering of wonderful minds here, but what's the plan for the actual stage setup and how it's going to be? Is there a stage, or where are you putting that?
So it's going to be at Livewell Park.
Okay.
There isn't really a stage. There's a little elevated cement area. That's about all. From what I understand, it does have the capabilities to handle all the electricity you could need.
Sure.
That would need to be verified, because if it doesn't, we need to request the electric trailer, and that's about a $50 charge.
Okay.
But I bet we'll be okay there. So.
Okay, and again, I'm sorry, I'm going to ask a whole bunch of really quick questions. What's the duration of time you wanted to operate the stage, or you would like to have events active down there?
Well, that's a wonderful question. I don't know.
Okay, another question leading on to that and tied in with my question about the placement of the stage area and performance area is, what events have you discussed having in the street area, sidewalk area, during this gathering? And the reason I ask that is, just in being able to communicate things. So, for instance, if you were to have a parade, or you were going to have something that was going to be happening in the street, then that stage area is set so far back, it's a challenge to communicate with those people. So you're almost excluding yourself from it, and that should be taken into account as to whether or not, do we need something that's more street side for that, and then that can be an additional performance area where we could jump back and forth, or is it something where everything can be accommodated in that single area?
That's a great question. It doesn't have to live there. We haven't really had a whole lot of discussion about what the main stage might look like. We are planning a parade. Hopefully that's gonna happen, but that's the plan. And then our goal was to block off that street on Santa Fe, just that one little block. Other than that, everything is wide open.
I would encourage consideration of having a primary stage based on, it could be a trailer, flatbed, something like that. I guess kind of like old school days where, like an early settlers day when it was downtown, they would have that placement. That centralizes that, because we also have to take into consideration you need some audio reinforcement. If you're going to have a parade, you're going to have anybody announcing, you better have audio reinforcement. If there's announcements going on throughout the day, that's very important as well. A band may get tied in and commit to bring the equipment, but they're probably not, where they very well may not want to bring their equipment to be there all day long. So what are we going to do about sound and amplification, and then kind of work from that basis. But the physical placement of the primary stage would be my biggest first concern.
I think that's a great idea, because if something else is going on, say, I don't know if we're having the Harry Lake contest or the cornhole or whatever, then the main stage could announce it, or right now the education pavilion is open, please go see, or whatever, because if you're in that one spot, I think that's an excellent idea.
But still being able to capitalize on the Livewell area, I mean, it's beautiful and that's been built up. That could be the place where, if you're having an evening dance, that's where the band starts and that's where they perform. Or you can use that as a breakout area. So not saying that stage in front of everybody has to be the exclusive position, but simply make those announcements. It would be important to have that centralized.
Suggestions on the location
For the trailer itself? I guess when I think about it, I just off the top of my mind, I would envision possibly to the, get into the, if you're looking at Livewell Park to the left of it there, kind of center, it would centralize it on the street on that side, same side as Livewell Park, but not blocking the park. You'd have to be on the street, you wouldn't be able to sit on the sidewalk, it's probably too heavy, but just in front of that area there.
So
What if we-
since I'm doing a live stream anyways, do we want to set it up like the Early Settlers Day committee has, where I'm going to also plug into a PA system and MC the parade like you're talking about, and make those announcements about here's our activities throughout the day? Like, I'm going to go live stream anyways. So on Early Settlers Day, we'll set it up right in front of my office on Colorado, but I think he's got a good idea with putting it close to the other stage.
Okay, so what about, my thoughts initially on that is if you put the flatbed trailer to the left of Livewell when you're looking at it, that could inhibit where we want to bring the tour buses into park.
Sure.
What if we put it across the street at
That'd be fine.
that little rainbow shop that's there, and like,
Or even on 3rd Street, right in front of that building that's been purchased, there's nothing in that yet, right? The old church.
oh, no, nothing, yeah.
If you use the trailer to block off the street there, and then that way, well, it's positive, because the more inclusive you can make that area. One thing to remember is it's kind of like if I'm out DJing an event and we talk about there's an event and there's going to be 700 people dancing, and the first thought is we should have a dance floor that's gargantuan and it's 60 by 60. But in reality, you want to have that much smaller, so it always feels like there's a lot of activity going on. So to be able to contain that area, and you mentioned that before, have a lot of activities in that area, to even block that off there on 3rd Street looking in would be just fine. And it opens up that whole area if people are looking down. But then the other concern is if you have a parade, then the parade can't run down that street. So I don't know the route of the parade. So, but across the street would be just fine as well. Anywhere you can centralize that stage would be fine, whether that's on the 3rd Street side blocking it, or one or the other side across from Livewell Park or in front of it. So I would think any of those would be
If
fine.
we put it in the front of the area of Uptown, I don't know if it's Presbyterian Church, but Uptown and the Rainbow Building, then you have your vendors going on in the south side of the parking lot of the courthouse that can hear. You have your event going on at Klein Makerspace that they can hear. You have hopefully the food vendors coming out, spreading onto the sidewalk, they can hear. The car show can hear. Any parade, anything coming through, you'll be able to hear. I think that would be workable.
And again, you'll have to excuse me because it's the first time here again. Where are all the other events happening downtown?
So we're centralizing around the courthouse.
Okay.
With the exception of Senior Citizen Center being our educational pavilion. But basically, we're trying to capitalize on all those businesses there.
And there are activities or setups all the way down Santa Fe there, down to, I guess that would be 2nd Street, and all the way up through past the Livewell Park area. Is that the?
In theory. We hope so.
Sure, and I mean it's the first year, so it's challenging because you're trying to build this up, and each subsequent year is getting larger. In mentioning that and having all these different activities, I know you mentioned car show. I don't know if you're gonna have that in the parking lot there by the courthouse or
It'll be on the north side of the courthouse.
the north side. Okay, so yeah, just the more you can pack into a single area and not drift too far apart, because the further we drift apart, the harder it is to keep people together. It's like I went to the state fair yesterday, it was tail end, and there was nobody there. It's the last day, and I was like, man, this is dead and there's nothing happening. But I know if I would have shown up Saturday night or Friday night, and it would have been packed with the same quantity of vendors. So kind of the same thought process as we try to get people to come in. And the other thought is it may be a little more chilly. I don't know what for. It could be hot. It could be cold. Hey, I'm just throwing it out there.
Don't say it.
But in keeping people in that same general area where they don't feel like they have to go as far, they'll congregate more in certain times. So it's probably gone over a couple times, but I just want to make sure I got that out. A lot of words every day I have to talk.
I'm open to any and anything you want to do, Daniel.
Sure. Do we have any type of a drawing or layout? I mean, it doesn't have to be like an AutoCAD drawing, but just a sketch.
Not yet.
Okay, so we need a drawing. What we're gonna do?
I have a question as far as placement with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Since I'll be one of the main people with education about the specific tarantula and the jowl.
Well, we actually have Paula Cushing coming out of.
I know her. I work with her. I love her.
Okay, so she's going to be centered at our educational pavilion, and we'll be relying heavily on her for educational needs as well.
Yeah, she knows me really well, so we work together.
Okay.
And so, what do you want me to set up a booth? I mean, I can do an educational program to explain the biology and all of that. I can even talk to Paula and we can work out something together. Or I can also bring a male and a female so that people can see why the tarantulas are everywhere. And, because they're only the males, it's not the females. It's just males looking for a date. And I can do a pairing to show them. I mean, we can do pretty much anything. I just wonder where you want me to be. Do you want me to be in the educational area or other area?
I would say educational. It sounds to me like Paula has to leave by like 12:30. If you're available, especially after that, because our pavilion is open until, is it 4?
Yes.
3 or 4. Maybe 3.
Oh, 3:30.
3:30. It would be nice to have an expert around, especially after that, if you're willing.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm available all weekend, so whatever you guys need.
And we would love to have her show up for the college presentation as well, the evening before on the Friday.
So they're doing a presentation at Otero College Friday evening. Would you be available for that?
1 o'clock.
Oh, Friday afternoon, excuse me.
Okay, what date is that?
It's the 7th.
October 7th at 1
Mm-hmm.
at Otero College?
Learning
Yes.
Commons.
In the Learning Commons.
It might be best if you coordinate with Dr.
Who's
Cushing.
gonna call to get the, I mean, I just need the address and stuff.
And what we just said, is it possible for you to coordinate with Dr. Cushing?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and email Paula and ask her to give me a call, and then, was she
Yeah,
planning
I
on
think
coming
that's a
out
good
for
idea.
that?
I would suggest that maybe, our lead from OJC start that conversation.
If we can get her email, then
Yeah,
I can
I
link
got
her
it.
in.
Yeah,
I got it.
perfect.
I'll have Warren reach out to you and he'll take on coordinating everything, if that's okay.
Yeah, that'll work, I am available to do the college. I do a lot of programs. I do, at CU Pueblo campus, I do a yearly day class about the biology, the phobia versus fear, that type of thing, and I don't do it in the, where you would think it would be. It's actually in the psychology department that I do, my day class. And, if you need a reference or anything, I can give you his name, the professor's name.
I think we're okay there.
Reached out to them. Oh, no, that's psychology. Reached out to them.
So the educational pavilion at the senior center, I'll get you that information as well, so you know the address and the hours, and we can get you set up there with everybody else if that works.
Need her
Yeah,
email.
that's perfectly fine, and I'm yours on weekends, so whatever you need.
Perfect, we appreciate that. What else do we have to discuss?
Well, the banners, I talked with Taylor, she designed a banner. It looks nice, the one she showed me is the big one that we don't have money for yet. But I am gonna go to Sabria and beg for money on the 15th to see if we can get that. Let's see, yep. Okay, sure. There's gonna be some changes to it just because we had a blue spider, and did you get a new mock-up?
I'd like to keep that, the end of the conversation.
Okay,
if we're- yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
okay, so we'll keep that at the end of the conversation, but anyway,
Thank you.
that's in the works, hopefully those are done, within the week, and Rob and I will go put those along the highway for the group.
On each side of town, and then the only one we won't have yet,
Yet is the big one.
across Colorado, okay?
And then I'm going to send out an email, to all of the folks that have graciously said they would come for our to the educational pavilion. And, I am missing the Division of Wildlife email, I need to get that from you guys. And then this person, and I think I have everyone else on the list. I got yours the last time. I have the libraries. I didn't know, Rick, did you think that the Kosharis were gonna come to the pavilion or not? Any kind of okay, that was the only one I didn't have, and that's it for me.
If they aren't coming to the pavilion, we did talk about putting something out. Are we doing a Saturday show?
2 o'clock Saturday afternoon, they're gonna do a show.
So maybe we
So
can
maybe
just
we
have
can
like
do
a
like a-
picture saying where to get it and how to buy tickets, so people will know.
Right. Maybe they have a picture or something we could borrow for a table,
Yeah.
or a poster or something,
I've got-
okay,
Yeah, I've got stuff.
okay.
Warren, did you find out about a petting
Petting
zoo?
zoo, I finally heard back from Brooke. Let's see, I think it was like Thursday of last week.
And she said.
And she said they are not currently doing it, but she did give me a name of somebody who might be willing, so I can forward that to you.
Okay,
She said recently the college students haven't even been doing it, it's been this other lady who's covered for them.
oh,
So I don't know if it's gonna be a pay sort of thing, if that's the case though.
well, if it is, have her call me. I'm very persuasive.
But I think that Early Settlers Day's having a petting zoo too, aren't they?
Great, great.
Yeah, so,
Great.
I don't don't know if we need it this year. We could have
It's-
giant people in tarantula suits and they could catch
Does this
that.
look familiar? That's what she sent me.
Right?
Yes, actually.
That's what she
You
put
can always,
me in.
you can always put a tarantula suit on my giant German Shepherd, that'd be great.
Yeah, there you go.
What is the library going to be doing?
I don't know, what do you want us to do?
I don't know, but I want to make sure if you have
We talked-
something in
We
mind.
talked early on about having like a reading corner. I think and so I think that's kind of the direction we were.
And you'll be at the educational pavilion? Okay, I just want to make sure that when I finally sit down to put this schedule of events together, that I don't omit anyone. But I'm gonna email it to everybody just to be sure.
And the library's working on
Oh, yeah, and then Lynn Martin is doing, our display case for this month is all promoting this.
Awesome.
And so Pam just brought the humongous Tarantula Crossing sign, and then we've got all the little QR codes. That was one question I did have is, so when I haven't looked at it recently to see if there's any changes on there, but when you scan that, the library is not on there. Is there a way for us to be included in that? Just
Yeah.
because it's such a, we're such a central hub for the community that, you know, it would be good to have a connection on that when people scan that QR code.
Yeah,
Because then they can come to the library and get more information or come see the display or look up books on tarantulas or whatever, so.
I thought we had you guys on there, but
Okay,
we'll make sure you're more
Okay,
visible. if
thank
not.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to give the library my information too, so if people do have questions about arachnids, especially our native ones, I'm there to help too.
Okay, I'll be sure to hand out your info to everybody in attendance today.
Thank you.
I've been thinking about a mural and I know we nixed it for this year, but as a circumstance should have it, I don't know if anybody saw the very nice big wooden board that Norm Murphy now has in their front windows.
Fortunately.
They said if we wanted, we could use that to put a tarantula on it and advertise the event. It's gigantic right next to Copper Kitchen. It's visible from the train. So I don't know what that might look like, or if Jeremy's super busy still. I bet he probably is.
I could ask Anna Matichak, the
I'm
art
writing it
instructor,
down.
to see if we could have her maybe do it if Jeremy's too busy.
Okay, but they've offered the space, and I mean, it's half a building size storefront full, so.
that'd be awesome.
As circumstance should have it, not happy circumstance, but just circumstance.
Well, luckily it wasn't a Copper Kitchen that was full of people. and
Yes,
that's
yes.
Fell over?
There was a car that
Is that what that was?
made a drive-through.
I thought they were picking up an order at Copper Kitchen, you know.
But they've offered that to us, and if that isn't something we can take on, I still think that they're happy to try to get that done, but it's a large space and I thought we should take advantage.
Even if at a minimum, I mean, we have the big, like, tarantula sticker looking thing. If she's not, if it's too much to take on a design, we can give them something that they can maybe put up there, if that makes sense. If they're willing to do a design, I think that would even be,
And maybe this is something that wouldn't be this year because it is kind of late at this point for her to do it, but going forward, but I mean, certainly get that in.
I don't think we'll have that space available to us next year.
It's literally a border.
I see what you're saying, I haven't driven by.
It's,
Now I'm
um,
visualizing.
It's not as eye-appealing as one would think, but it is a great space to advertise.
Yeah.
We need to get one of those graffiti artists who can do
Yeah.
Well, they're coming a week prior, so maybe,
Well, maybe you could talk
Oh,
to them.
yeah.
I will be talking, okay.
Adrian, you had kind of reached out to the car show people. Do you know if they're still?
They had it in their newsletter. I don't really know. I can call Karen and see if they're planning on
I thought you
attending.
had a direct link, but if you don't, I can call.
Well, I
Karen, too.
do. It's Karen.
Okay.
Do you guys have any, pet shops that are, participating in the event?
So we don't have any pet shops in La Junta.
Okay,
You have cats.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again? I didn't catch all of that.
I know the owner of Beasties Inflatable
No.
I'm making the same face.
So I
as
think
Sarah.
I think our goal for the Tarantula Fest is to highlight local, local businesses and really get to, in their natural habitat. So that's a good suggestion, but I think we'll pass on that. Thank you.
One more thing, I have, the display's ready to go at the Otero Museum. I've been working on the panels this morning. I had one little interpretation tile that was damaged. It came in on Friday, so now all I have to do is get over there and hopefully they have an 8-foot table they can lend me so I can get that set up. But I'm hoping to finish the panels up this afternoon so Rob can help me haul that beast over there.
They're super excited. They
Oh,
called me and they said, "Should we buy a blow-up spider?" I said, "Yeah."
Should. I think it's gonna be good once it gets over there, so.
Okay, perfect. What else do we have?
We
So,
had talked-
Go ahead.
Since it didn't look like we were gonna end up having a band on Friday, there was some talk about maybe the Krishars could dance Friday night. That's no. Krishars, there's football that night, and they just don't have the people. But 2:00 on Saturday.
So
They're
on
doing a show.
Friday, all we have going on then is Dr. Cushing at the college and disc golf, right?
Are we running any shuttles Friday?
No.
At all? I couldn't remember if that was happening. Okay.
Dr. Cushing had said something about possibly doing something with scorpions.
Yeah, and that sounds like it might be more like committee, since we didn't really get it organized. I don't know. I think she was.
So we pick a shot.
2:00 Saturday afternoon.
I think she was interested in doing something Friday night. But
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
She had
keep it.
mentioned that she was interested. I just didn't know if we'd scheduled anything.
And I thought we might be gone during the evening chasing arachnids, so
Well, depending on what she's looking to do, there could be a possibility that we could still line up the buses if it's something for the committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will.
mean, we can.
I will
can
reach out to her and see how interested she would be to maybe do, even if it's just one bus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and let us know, and then I can contact Dawn, or Colleen's been in contact with Dawn about buses there and availability.
I have a late comment question, which is on the displays for the educational facility, inside, outside, just tables.
There'll be tables there. In the email I'm gonna send out, I'm gonna ask what you need for your display.
Okay.
And then hopefully I can get there early enough to try to get the tables, whatever you need, and put everybody's name on it, so it's not such a big mess when people get there.
This is like one table per organization.
If you need two, just tell us what you need, and I know they have quite a few tables over there. They have rounds, but I think they have, oblongs as well. I need to talk to Dawn, but
It's just single
I
doors.
have a banner that I'll bring too.
too big.
Okay, great.
Paula has responded and said she's all right with them bringing specimens for handling and showing
Yeah,
out.
something big.
Okay. So Dr. Cushing says she's good with you bringing specimens for show and tell? Kelly? Perfect.
On Friday at the college, if that works.
And maybe
And
even
maybe
downtown.
And
Saturday.
for
Saturday morning for anybody who can't make it to the college.
Should be Friday and Saturday morning. Details to come on that. That would be good.
Okay.
What else do we have?
So Chad,
Needs any photos of our native tarantulas, like really good ones. I can supply those, or even supply the spider, so that you guys can take a really good photo.
Okay.
Does she have, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm dominating the conversation here, but does, what's her name?
Kelly.
Kelly, do you have signs that say these are bred in captivity, please do not take from the site, or something that you could bring? Or bring from, so that people aren't thinking they can go out and just capture these? I think some sort of signage would be great for that.
Yeah, for sure, because the ones that people see walking around, like I said, are just the males, and they're gonna die 5 to 7 months anyway. So all they're doing is interrupting their breeding. And the females, they're not gonna see, because they don't come out of the burrows very often, mostly during the dawn and the dusk times, or if you tickle them out of
we just want to make sure that people know that you are a special group that does this, and it's not just going out and capturing them for fun.
Oh, no. And also I will stress, like I stress in every single educational program that I have, that poaching in Colorado is illegal. And taking any tarantula or even spider or arachnid for that matter, and selling it is considered poaching in Colorado. That's not the same in every state, but for Colorado, you can't do that. And I stress that very, very, very hard. And we also breed them so that we can sell those instead of having people go out and get them from the wild. I do take a small group out every year to different locations so that we can collect specimens, but we only take like 5.
Who enforces that for poaching? Who does that go through? Who enforces the poaching? I mean, is that,
Division of Wildlife. It's called, what was it? I'd have to look it up, but it's the Division of Wildlife. So if you know somebody that does that or suspect of somebody doing that, you call the Division of Wildlife. And my contact, I just have to look it up, but I do have a contact with the GOW.
special forces?
Okay. Adrian, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, Chad Eviat, he's watching from afar, and he's Evitt. Oh, excuse me. There's the correction for you, Chad.
I got you.
So he's offering to send a costume to display, so maybe that'd fit well over at the museum.
Can you give his email?
I haven't.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
So just follow up with Angela if you would, Chad. Thank you for your patience, sir.
Presbyterian Church,
Okay.
builder in downtown.
Where's the educational pavilion?
Senior Center.
Just east of the court.
Yeah.
You know where it is on Second.
Do you want us to try to find vendors?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I
So,
wondered.
I've had one person reach out to me about setting up a booth, just to refresh all your memory. If you weren't here the last meeting, we're charging $20 flat. If they need electricity, they can bring their own. That's not anything extra. We're planning on putting them in the south side of the courthouse for right now. I went and got the form from the chamber to see what theirs look like, so I can create one for us that's going to be out on the Visit Lahana event page for the Tarantula Fest. I also got their parade form. So
Do you
I'll,
just want local vendors, or are you accepting vendors from everywhere?
wherever they want to come from, we'll take them.
Okay, I'll put the word out because I know a lot of vendors.
And you can just send them my way. That'd be great.
Okay, I will definitely do it. Just send me your email and all of that so they're not blowing up your phone.
I'm a real estate agent. It can ring, but I'll send you my email address as well.
You're used to the phone blowing up. Okay.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna have a quick update since we were talking about the information pavilion. The senior center has too many points of contacts that have been contacting them, so I would like to request that Colleen be the person, because they're not sure what times they should be open, so we need to have the discussion about when that needs to be. And then what our expectations needs to go through the committee and then through Colleen, because they're confused about what that looks like right now. So,
I need to call Dawn.
okay.
I thought I'd go have a meeting with her.
She just reached out and was asking me, times and stuff, and I told her that we would narrow down the point of contact and make sure that you're that person, and if there's additional times that we need for other events, we need to let Colleen know, because it's too confusing to have too many points of contact, and they're trying their best there, but, it's just important that we're clear on that. So, if there's additional needs for the senior center, like a bike ride or something, then it would be good to have that conversation now
Yeah.
of what time we're looking at it so that Colleen can pass that message on.
Okay, I'll bring that up. Here's,
Okay.
let a couple more people.
The
weigh
other
in.
question was about insurance, and we do not need insurance. So
That's
I
great.
have an email from the city, insurance provider that says why we do not need that, so I think that should be enough.
I think so. All right.
So you don't know if there's gonna be a parade or not?
Well, in theory,
There you don't know?
in theory, I would like to get everybody to participate to do floats, but by some miraculous event, we have 3 or 4 events happening
I know,
all in a row.
right.
So I'm hoping that people will still want to jump on board and do a parade, but as of right now, we don't have anybody signed up.
Okay.
So,
The Chamber of Commerce has,
Vendors, are people that, sell animals, are they allowed to do it too? I know PACFO would have to be involved then.
sell animals, like what kind?
Like vendors, I have a lot of vendor friends, that are tarantulas or reptiles, you know, exotics, stuff like that.
I don't necessarily think that would be a good fit for what we're trying to do.
What you're trying to do, okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure, so I didn't say, oh, okay, contact us first.
Thank you for asking in advance.
Yeah.
Okay,
for Daniel and Stuart, for the Chamber of Commerce has said they would organize the parade.
yes.
But they have Early Settlers Day first.
Exactly, yeah.
And so they aren't gonna organize any parade until after Early Settlers
Okay,
Day, so.
I'll be able to swoop in and get everybody signed up there,
We may
give
have
a
somebody-
flyer.
We
you
may
know.
have somebody that would be interested in maybe.
So my hope is, if I'm really ambitious and I have that parade entry form in hand, Saturday morning, when I'm waiting for the parade to start, I'm just gonna start handing them out to everybody and begging them to be in our parade too. So that's,
Saturday, good
yeah,
idea.
that's my goal.
Okay.
And then I hope to have the vendor form filled out and ready to go as well, and I'm gonna do
Dang, I
this.
wish we would have
I'm
thought
gonna
to
do
have
the
a
same
spider,
thing.
a spider in this parade.
Yeah.
That said tarantula.
It's not too late. It's not too late. I ordered a spider from Amazon because nobody carried them locally. It's not here yet, but it's an inflatable spider.
You dress your dog up like a spider. Have a whole bunch of dogs that look like spiders walking down.
But I entered the parade this morning, so it's not too late. If we wanted to put a vehicle in with a banner, just that.
I'm obligated to drive the commissioners, but if we had, if we had something, we could probably find a driver, somebody from our committee if we had a banner that soon, but I don't think we will.
What's her turnaround time
I
on?
don't know, cause she's still waiting on something, right, so
We don't have any young new drivers that are just eager to be in a car and drive. That wouldn't mind driving us in a
It'd be
parade.
cool if we get a Volkswagen Bug and put this tarantula on.
I'm not gonna let that one go yet. I'm
Okay,
gonna
'cause that
make it
would
happen,
be-
Elaine.
Well, whatever I can do to help.
I'm gonna be in the parade for a different float, but if I can get it put together.
Maybe we could advertise during that.
I mean, that's smart. I have the window decorating contest ready to go. I bought the supplies to create the awards for the floats and everything for the parade that we're hoping to have. What say you on the bike ride?
I'm still planning the bike ride. I've got people ready to go. And the thing is that, we're planning to start earlier because of the parade. But if the parade, it could be chilly, the weather could be, it could be cool. And so if we could start a little later in the absence of a parade, but I'm kind of working on a poster.
Okay,
And so it's not setting, we were thinking about 8:30,
and the ride will last how long?
about an hour and a half.
Okay.
And so, but I mean, in the parade, does that fit? Or, the first part of the ride will be more like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So that would get the young people, back from the college, on the short ride, back from the college in time, certainly in time for a parade. And then the ride continues from the college out south to Road Wide, wraps back around.
And what did we
That's done.
decide we needed to do for police presence? Anything?
I've got, You know, maybe not. I don't think it's really necessary, but I've got the police chief saying that he'll help out. May even go on. I mean, he may want to go on the ride. I don't know how, and maybe Davidson as well. But and maybe anyway. So the sheriff is on board. Says everything looks good. Another cyclist with the county is Lex Nichols, and he says that he'll put out cones out there on Y or whatever, Road Y, to kind of help, control traffic on the county side of things.
Okay. Do we have a guesstimation on expected number of participants?
We're requiring helmets, and so that could limit, and it, hopefully will limit the numbers. We're gonna have a waiver, and it's gonna be a modified waiver from Town of Lahana, City of Lahana, and require helmets, and I don't know. I don't have any idea of the numbers. I mean, 30 sounds good to me, but it could go over that.
Do you think
And
it
so-
could be less?
It's hard to know, and if we put it on the site, if you advertise it on the on this website, it could get a little bit bigger. I think most of the people that come out of town will have helmets and be prepared
If they know it's happening in advance.
Yeah.
if they know.
I mean, the poster needs to happen as soon as possible
As soon
if we're
as
gonna
possible.
promote it, because right now
Okay.
we don't have any information to give people.
I understand.
So- And if all this stuff is required, then, I mean, if you could just get the basics on a poster,
Okay.
or even, it doesn't even need to be fancy, just so we can include it at this point, I think.
Okay.
To start getting that word out is
It's kind
what
of
we need,
paramount.
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause people aren't gonna go on it if they don't know about it.
That's true. And so I'm thinking this week to turn it into you, Pam, or to Angela. How do I turn it into you?
Just the information.
Okay. All right.
That's all we need, and right now we can just add it to the event page, and then it really doesn't need to be anything fancy at this point, just the information.
Are we
Okay.
charging for this bike ride?
It's going to be I think we're not going to charge, but we're going to take donations, and the donations would go to further events. That's what the consensus of the cyclists and I see it. Thanks.
Thanks, Warren.
And where are you starting?
So we're starting at the senior center,
Okay,
and we're going to the college, and basically through town. I've got the route. I've got verbiage documents already made and a map made that came from
and
the
how many
city.
miles did you say was?
The first ride is under 4, and it goes up to the college, goes around the college, comes back, and we clock that distance. The second ride just goes ahead and continues from the college, wraps around south side of town. It's under 8 miles by the what we've clocked so far. And
Yeah.
hopefully the young people, if there's kids involved, I'd like to go ahead, it'd be great if they, if they're not very, 8 miles is not a lot, but if you're not seasoned, you might want to just turn around and come back.
Okay,
And so we'll have leaders coming back down, to take that first group back to the senior center down Colorado. And, so we might want to control, I guess we might want to control that intersection. And Mitch, I've talked to Mitch, and on the force also, chief of police, and they said they may be available, they may have someone available, but it's kind of hard to get someone dedicated, but maybe they may have someone available to control an intersection. But I don't think it's absolutely necessary.
If the parade's going on, they'll probably have people there controlling the intersections. That's going down Santa Fe, coming up Colorado to whatever, 5th or 7th or whatever.
And when would the parade start?
10.
10. So with the longer ride, so the short ride will be done well before then, and the longer ride comes back on San Juan, more or less to 2nd or in that neighborhood. So maybe we could avoid the parade. We want to avoid that parade.
What time is the bike race going to start?
Ride like 8:30.
Okay, just thinking of trying to get the conclusion to lead up to the parade, because obviously people want to see a parade. They may not want to go on the ride or whatever else for just distraction. Again, try to bring everybody in so they can get there. Do you think that's adequate time? 8:30 to 10?
Depends on how fast you pedal. I
Yeah.
wouldn't make that.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, bikes can move pretty rapidly.
Yeah,
And I
8
mean-
miles on a bike, man.
That's quick.
I mean,
No sweat.
I'm just kidding, I
Not
don't.
going very fast.
yeah, well, there's some of it's downhill and some of it's uphill. So let me, and you know, what I'm hoping is that the senior center can open at 8, and, you know, and I did,
I think I'm gonna talk to Don. I need to be down there early to set tables up. I know they are going to have a dance the night before, so nothing's gonna be set up. So that means it's gotta be done early that morning.
yeah.
So anyone that would like to help with that, I would appreciate it. If not, my husband will be down there helping me do that. So
And what time did we say the booth setup was gonna be?
9 to 10. We
Okay.
did that because if they wanted to
Parade, yeah.
participate or watch the parade.
And I think for the vendor booths downtown, if we have them ready to go by 8 a.m., because people will start getting down there for the parade
Or even
to
by
get a
8:30 or
good
9-ish.
spot.
Are there any other events scheduled for the earlier part of the morning prior to the parade?
Not unless we can think of one.
Pancake breakfast, make them look like tarantulas.
So we're hoping that the local eateries will get on board, because I'm not planning on bringing in any food trucks.
Are there any like nonprofits like in the past? I can't remember if it was like Knights of Columbus or Elves or like one of those
Kiwanis or
groups.
Lions.
Kiwanis, any of those? Yeah, start a little.
We don't have any local chapters on those anymore, I don't think. Maybe the Lions, but all they do is the Easter egg hunt.
Might be worth reaching out. I mean, I think to try to put it on the back of a private business and hope that they do it might be a challenge, because, you know, at least with a community based organization, you get a lot of volunteers and they'll all jump in and they can round up a larger group of people to help with that. And that's definitely an effort too. But I know we've done all these things in the past. I feel
You
like-
had talked about the 8-legged race. Was that after the parade or before the parade?
So
Or is that
Mickey
gonna
was
happen?
gonna put that together.
Oh, and then she dropped.
Mickey's not available this year to help out, so unless somebody else wants to pick that up. And I guess just a little bit of background, Daniel.
Mhm.
I don't want to put it on the backs of the businesses, but really in hindsight, this is for the businesses. If they want to profit off the tourism money coming in to see that boost of early settlers day that they used to have that they no longer get, I hope they'll buy in. And it's not just Copper Kitchen. I'm gonna need a full buy-in from every business in the downtown area, because it doesn't matter if you have the best event, the best parade. If you go down there and you can't find food, it doesn't matter what else you've done right, because they will remember nothing else anyway.
Sure. Yeah, I was just thinking of a larger effort where it's like, you know, the kickoff breakfast. My thought was, can a local business like that accommodate, not so much like would they have a booth and be able to offer things, because that's a given, but just I guess I just always flash back to my childhood when I think about things in Lahaina, and I think it's 400 people that show up for one of these, or you drive and it's such a big event that may be overwhelming for a single business to take on. So,
Yeah, like early stuff. They used to have that big
Right.
breakfast. Do they still do that? I think Lions put that on.
They're gonna have a free community breakfast at Santa Fe Plaza.
And I don't know who's putting that on.
The chamber.
They don't have like a secondary.
For early
They have some
settings or-
sponsors. I can look it up. The Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad is their big sponsor.
Steven, we had talked about tables and chairs.
Yeah, and so when I've communicated with Stuart here, and so what seems to be maybe working in our favor is that you're finishing the event, and you're gonna have tables and chairs on a truck or trailer that we might be able to transfer without having to offload.
Yeah, we're gonna have all of Clean Valley's chairs, and if you guys need depends on 4 chairs, we probably have between 2 and less than 150 chairs.
So this is a good time to discuss this, because
Yep.
you're gonna have them, because you're gonna have yours combined with Clean Valley's, and they're gonna be, you have them loaded up.
Are
And
they
they'll be
marked?
coming back.
They'll be clean.
Are they gonna be clean?
No, they will be clean.
Okay, well, so what are the numbers, what kind of numbers do you think, what are you getting from us, do you have any idea?
I think total's about 150.
Total's about 150, so what do you think? Should we put in for all those? Should we just take them?
I would
That would
rather
be easiest.
Where are you gonna-
have and
where are
not
you gonna use
need
them?
than need and not
Yeah.
have that live well.
Or along the,
We'll need to mark them somehow, but yeah.
yeah, we need to make sure that they all get back to, you know, owners, so, and then, so you won't have to unload them, you know, I mean, if you, I guess you bring, probably gonna come on one trailer or something like that?
Yeah.
So then we could appropriate them and then get them back on that trailer, which will help unload.
So we probably should plan to, it's like putting on a play on Sunday afterward, if we just do a walkthrough of the main area, pick up trash and stuff like that.
Yep.
Maybe we could all meet at Copper Kitchen or something and then go do it, or do Copper Kitchen after we do that or
Yeah,
something.
afterward.
Yeah.
Maybe Copper Kitchen should have the spider-shaped
Pancakes.
pancakes.
I'm hoping.
Really good.
All the businesses that I've spoken to so far are really excited for it. But you again have to remember when the locals pack a place, there's not much room for anybody else. So I'm trying to be mindful of that. The food vendors that do snacks, it's not completely out yet, but I want to give the businesses first option.
Maybe just giving them a little bit of an idea of how they could go about that then. So say you have 7 or 8 food vendors, a whole bunch of them in mind. Because we got to get the visionary juices flowing. Otherwise you just say, hey, we're going to serve breakfast. They're like, all right, cool, I'll cook up some eggs. Maybe we could just collectively come up with a couple of ideas and say, hey, there's spider-shaped pancakes or round pancake and like some sausages, you can make legs. Some things like that, but also thinking along the lines of, you know, I recently went to Taste of Denver, and then I was at Taste of Madison in Wisconsin, and Summerfest up in Milwaukee, and they have a lot of those vendor booths where at different times of the day, maybe it's the whole event, but in this case, different times of the day, it would be something like, hey, see if you can come up with a little something people could sample for $2 or a couple dollars, something like that. So somebody could take $10, go along a number of these booths, support all the vendors, and they could have a little something, and it would be kind of an experience people could go through rather than just, oh, I'm going to show up here and there's kind of a breakfast thing. It's kind of like, okay, these guys have, you know, like the arachnid omelet or whatever, and you know, it's got however it's designed. But just coming up, just spitballing some ideas out there.
Right.
But we've got to be, it's got to be an exciting event. And I'll just ramble on here for a second. One thing I'm concerned about with this whole thing, and I've been thinking about this in my head, is as we go along, we'll certainly want to contain material, pictures and video and things like that, so we can promote this and grow. And I think of events like the Frozen Dead Guy Festival in was it a year ago? So that's huge, right? All right, so there's a couple different aspects to that, and that's a little different because it's not so scientific. It's just a guy that froze, but they made some really cool event out of it. So you have the educational platform, and that's exciting, and there's a lot of people who want to take that in, and that's very important to what's going on here. I mean, that's the whole basis for it. But we can't neglect the part that there's a lot of people that you want to draw in from the outside, and it's just got to be like, that's a really cool thing. I'm just going to show up, and they got people walking around just like spiders, and there's projections of spiders on the wall, and like they've got these crazy foods, and it's this real exciting thing. So I think it's also important that we're mindful of, you know, how can we really be excited and involved and throw out all these different ideas where people are able to take part in things rather than just showing up and it's very linear. It's like, okay, here's this and here's this. Back to the state fair idea. I get a turkey leg, I get a funnel cake, I'm real excited, and then you know, they have the agricultural displays. That's cool. Oh, cool. Here's some animals. I can look at those, and then there's some educational stuff, and I'll take that in. But if it's just all education, I show up to an event, I'm like, you know, my ADD, I get tired and bored. And I'll mention this. I know we're a long way into this, and I've missed a lot of this so far, and I'm jumping in, so maybe too late. We talked about the educational pavilion at the Senior Center. One thing that worries me from an event perspective is we don't know what the turnout's going to be this year because obviously marketing, and this is the first year we haven't been able to really hype it. What's going to happen if a lot of people just, they don't get the vibe and for whatever reason they don't go down there? You know, you guys are stuck there and it's like you're all by yourselves, and so we have all this energy that's invested and it's way over here. Because I think, busing people down, that's a wonderful idea. And people from out of town, they'd probably take part in that. But we're going to have a lot of community members involved in this as the core of the people showing up at least the first year, whereas it may grow in years down the road, and we'll have more and more people coming in. Of course, we can start to spread activities. But as I mentioned earlier, is the more we can bring things in to this area. So again, just throwing this out, spitballing, is there a way you could throw up a big tent and have that pavilion right there on the ground, so people are right there and they can move right in and take part in that? Is there a way we can just bring all these things in closer together physically? I've been kind of drawing these out. I just opened Photoshop and I was just I pulled a satellite map down and I'm just kind of dropping things as you mention them. But every time I think about everything being like way over here and being bussed over, I'm thinking, okay, again, back to the dance and the number of people on a dance floor. If we pull all these people away, then we thin out this whole crowd, and the more thin the attendees are, the more the event kind of feels like, it's waffling out, and we're just going to kind of go. But if we keep everybody there in this area, and it's very dense, and people are involved, they'll stay longer, and then that allows us to continue through all the activities of the day.
Here's the thought, the reason why we chose that restroom facilities.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have that in the tent. We are going to have some porta pots up further, but we also have the idea to have these little spiders that you follow to these areas.
Oh, okay.
They're going to be
I got a stencil.
They're going to be on the sidewalks, so it's going to
Another
follow
way
the
you can.
spiders, and it's really only one block off the beaten path.
Okay.
We always think, I don't know why we think it's so far over there. It's just one block from Copper Kitchen to the senior center. Not
And I
even hardly
think
that, it's just
if we get really ambitious, and we fill the cars in that north side parking lot, the vendor side is full on the south side. We do have to leave parking because it's silly not to, but that's going to be full, and we just make sure that we do the extra effort to be like, hey, did you go over here? Did you go over here?
that's where the announcing comes in. That's really important too.
And the busing is just out to Comanche.
Oh, just
And
like
that's,
Comanche, right.
that's later on in the afternoon at 4:30.
Oh, yes.
So
It's
everything else should be pretty much done by then,
Yeah.
except for the beer tent and all.
how many? I'm going to throw this out there just so you can think through my thought juices, because I'm just thinking, even if that stays there, maybe it'd be ideal to move the stage. Even though we have the live well stuff, it is way over, and trying to centralize between all these. If you think about a single city block in La Junta, think about the area from 2nd to 3rd on Santa Fe, and let's say we have that populated with a number of vendor booths and even a trailer with announcing. I'm just setting this up as a visionary example. What's everybody's opinion on how many people it would take to make that area feel like there's a happening event there? Is it 50? Is it 100? Is it 300 people? And then with that thought in mind, let's consider the area from 2nd and Santa Fe to 3rd and Santa Fe to 4th and Santa Fe. That's one street. And then the courthouse area, and then from 2nd and Santa Fe to to the senior center there.
Yeah, Raton.
So what is a Raton? Was it 2 blocks? So now you've got to cover 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you counted that area in front of the south side of the courthouse. Now you've got about 6 whole blocks you've got to cover, plus the parking lots, in order to make that feel like it's an event that's happening as people are spreading out. So that's just my thought process on that, and maybe a consideration for where things might drop. And I know the Live Well thing's been developed really well, and I know the senior center, now you've got that set up, and you explained that very well. But that's kind of where my mind is going. I'm just worried that it's going to get so spread out that it's going to look like
We're
that's
worried too. It's just we don't have a big facility downtown to house something, and we don't know what the weather's going to be like.
Right.
If it's going to be exceptionally cool, it'd be not, if everybody could be outside, it'd be great. But people have pamphlets. It could be windy. It just has to be an inside place for the educational.
I'm not so worried about that. I'm just thinking about the event as a whole. So you just thinking about shifting things. So if that has to stay in a static position, that's fine. But if we have the stage and the announcing and the center, everything way over here, then how is that going to draw people out, and how is that going to spread them out? And it doesn't mean that you couldn't switch things next year, but would it be worthwhile to maybe that center stage position moves to like Colorado Avenue and between 2nd and 3rd Street, and then you're drawing everybody kind of to that same general area. But I'm just throwing that out there in the thought process of, I don't know how many people are going to attend, and since it's the first year, we're building up, and we want to make it a nice event, even if it's a little more compact. So next year it expands and it grows, and ultimately over several years, maybe 5 years down the road, we're covering those 8 or 10 blocks, street blocks, and it's this huge event. But it's kind of like walk before you run. So.
And I don't know, I might want to throw something in there, but we're using the parking lot at the south side of the courthouse for visitor parking. Is that correct? We have
The
that.
south side of the courthouse is for vendors.
Then that's all for vendors. Yeah, okay, that's all for vendors. That's all for setup for vendors. But you know, like the art project is going to be in that space on the south, in that vendor space, and they're going to have a stage. On the south side of the courthouse, which is a really pretty area with big trees and green grass, and that I'm just, you know, I'm thinking about the future also. But that would kind of tie together anything we have that was in that region would kind of tie together the Live Well and the senior center. I mean, it would be central to those two. But I'm not certain that this year. Yeah, I guess that this year may not work.
I've had the same thought, I mean, with Danny, talking about the Kasharis doing a show, whether or not they should do it at the Kiva or they should do it downtown.
You have to do it downtown. You're going to draw people away.
It's just, the Kiva's just such a spectacular building. It's a chance to show off something in Wahanta if you get them to the Kiva. So that's why we've been doing them right now. It's scheduled to be at the Kiva.
It reminds me of an all-you-can-eat buffet, because I really like those Brazilian steakhouses, and they get the meat and you get everything. But I just can't eat everything in one sitting, even though I want to. So it's kind of, things like how should we move events down? The more we can centralize things and bring them there, you have to bring it to the event. You can take an example from anywhere else. I mean, go to Denver and they have an event downtown, and hey, there's a concert out in Arvada. It's like, well, it's a lot larger area, but just along those. I'm going to get these other two topics off my ADD mind. Sorry.
You're good.
One, the spider insignia you're going to put on the ground. That's really awesome. Another thing I used one time for nightclubs that may be a positive addition to that is if you get a stencil cut out and then you pressure wash the sidewalk, it's a free stencil. So you can be like, walk this way and picture of a spider, and you're cleaning the sidewalk at the same time. Just thought of that. And the real easy to do, you get the pressure washer, throw down the stencil, spray it down, go to the next one. And
I have both.
yeah, so you got that. And then on, somebody mentioned something about, I think you mentioned about getting an inflatable spider and things like that. So one would be, we have this really cool Christmas decorating contest that everybody does. We're leading into Halloween, and again, I'm going to go back to there's educational and then there's fun, and spiders are scary and awesome at the same time. So you could also lead into a house decorating competition and get people kind of lean them in a little bit into Halloweenish because it's the same time, but it could be very spider driven, and that's cool because people drive around town and as they see it, that includes them a little bit more. Third, there may be something this year that my company DNA Veed can do downtown where maybe we can project some cool images on the wall at night of a couple buildings. Do that, and then maybe do some like uplights and wash the buildings. I'm really into like lighting these buildings up, and it'd be a great way to showcase this really nice architecture we have in our community. Involves people because now there's something going on, and also kind of gives us a look at what that would look like kind of down the road. But that would be just hype it up a little bit.
All great ideas.
I have fog machines too.
All great ideas. So I like them all. The reason we chose Live Well is because for a beer permit, it's already enclosed.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to herd cats is just to keep them in the one space. It doesn't have to be there next year. This is going to be trial by fire. We're going to figure it out one way or the other. So I'm for it. I too had thoughts about keeping everything central, but I really want to highlight all Lahaina has to offer, which is why the museum is doing their chuck wagon dinner and they have their own display, which is why they're dancing at the Kiva instead of bringing it into town. We're hoping to plant the seed that, I didn't get to all of it. Next time I come to Lahaina, I want to go here. Or I went there this one time, but it was really fast. I didn't get to stay there the whole time. I want to come back and see it again. So I'm hoping that this will give them a little more, oh hey, that is down there. I didn't get to experience that last time, but it's gonna be wild. Whatever happens.
So it sounds like we need to come up with something from like 9 to 9:45 or something prior to the parade, or 8:30 to 9:30 to get people.
And I think we had discussed doing like a pet dress up contest. I think people are all about their dogs. I don't know why I feel that, probably because I am, but I think people would participate in that. Having a kids costume contest, they would participate in that. You know, getting the windows in downtown to be decorated, getting the businesses to buy in, the ones that can spread out onto the sidewalk to offer additional seating. That's going to be huge to try to make it look like a lot is going on all day. Having the car show, I've never seen one person walk quickly through a car show, ever. They linger, they look, they you know, they ooh and they ah over it. So I think having that right in the middle is key. Klein Makerspace is teaming up with Lahana Trading, and they're going to be doing some make and take spider type craft kits that they're going to be putting together right on the sidewalk in front of Klein Makerspace. Those people are going to be there for a few hours doing that. Hopefully we can just get them to linger long enough to experience all of it. But
What about the movie at the Fox? Is that still?
I haven't gotten to touch base with Vance yet. I'm hoping he's still in. But Vance was going to show a spider themed movie that day, kind of to tie in the whole radius there. I'm hoping it can still happen, but we've got a lot of legwork to do with a little bit of time.
How are we marketing this to the outside of Lahana?
It's a great question. So
I've had several media outlets ask me for a definitive list of events and activities that they could publish.
and they've started messaging me on Facebook, which is weird, but right now all of our promotion is going through Visit Lahanta. We want that to be our main source of.
They do have the forms out for the sign up for the tours.
Yes.
They do, okay.
She sent out the link for that. We got some good feedback. I think it's a really good, easy form to navigate. The only thing on the event that I wasn't a huge fan of is when it says location, it says Senior Center Lahanta. And I wanted it to say downtown Lahanta, so I think we definitely need to get something in the events page that says, you know, this is happening in downtown Lahanta, and the educational pavilion is here. But I think for this first year, as long as we kind of dumb it down, we get lots of good signage, even if we get those little yard signs that we just put some vinyl on, this is educational pavilion this way. I asked for permission to paint the spiders on the sidewalks. Nobody answered me, so I think I might just ask for forgiveness.
Or we could use chalk on as long as it's not raining and it'll wash right off.
But I have a bunch of stencils coming, and I bought a couple of different sizes of them, so we can distinguish between events and food places, or you know, however we wanted to do it. But I got an email back regarding some of the improvements we wanted to see happen in downtown area. What can be tackled? They're going to start working on those. What else do we have to talk about?
Are we doing any social media at all for this?
So if you go on to Visit Lahana, there's an event that's been created. I'm trying to share that. Adrian's doing his part with Seco News to help us out.
So that's a Facebook.
On the Colorado Rapid Facebook page too.
That could be big.
I think we had about 8,900 reach on the first tarantula spotted photo.
What about like doing like Instagram and maybe TikTok? But you know, there's people that will, especially younger people, that are really excited.
Yeah.
Get that going, hashtag it, come up with a bunch of ideas. It doesn't necessarily have to show what's happening, but there's ways we can kind of do that, do some like guerrilla marketing on the background and kind of drive people so that interest starts driving. And again, thinking down the road a year or two as we do this, we'll be able to capture. Do we have somebody that's going to do pictures or video of the event to be able to?
Yeah, I have 4 photographers who are going to be active that day, but
Okay.
they'll be providing for Seco News
Okay. I
because
mean,
we
that,
didn't do any
that should be a
contracted work.
consideration. Maybe there's a local photographer too that might want to get in and just capture something. We need some.
Here's one.
Yeah, there you
Here's
go.
one right here.
Yeah.
And
I'm planning
even
on it
She's
anyway.
awesome.
So we have sponsors sold on our live stream coverage of the parade, if there is a parade. and we have
When
sponsors.
there
So
is a parade.
when there is a parade, I just keep hearing it sounds iffy. The
No,
further
no.
we
It'll be
get,
okay.
closer we get.
Do you know the
This-
route if there is a parade?
Yeah, well, that's
There
what I'm
is, it's
curious.
gonna be
what's
the exact
route?
same route as Early Settlers Day. We don't reinvent the wheel, we just make it a little better.
And that goes,
Perfect.
Goes from about 5th and Santa Fe up to 2nd, from 2nd to Colorado, Colorado down to about 5th Street, 6th Street.
Hmm.
It's not gonna be that size of parade right out of the gate, but still gonna be good nonetheless.
could you say that again?
Please.
Fifth and Santa
5th and
Fe.
Santa Fe down to 2nd, 2nd over to Colorado, Colorado up to about 5th or 6th.
Colorado up to where?
5th or 6th.
If there's things.
Contact the Mountain Book Club too and ask them to advertise it.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay.
Can we crown a Mr. and Mrs. Tarantula or something?
With Tony too, I'll ask them to promote it too.
I mean, whatever you wanna come, I think I see a subcommittee happening, Daniel, that's gonna be led by you.
It's called my blood pressure keeps rising because I'm just excited, but we're only a month out. So.
Yeah, that's our problem, you know, everybody's like, all the other great ideas,
And now
but.
with how, all the places I need to be that day, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
I hope I can get there. I hope I can get to every place.
I was thinking that would be a good way to, we can highlight some members of the community, again, just spitballing, highlight some members of the community with something like that. And then also have, kind of like you have a marshal of a parade or something, we could select a couple of these honorary people, and that would be a way to reach out to, if it's an elected official or somebody else outside the community, trying to bring them in and highlight them as well. So we still have the inclusive community aspect of it. We've also got the marketing aspect where we bring those folks in, and that could be something that expands to next year. But just trying to think of ways you force people to be involved from outside in a positive
Okay.
way.
So, in my true fashion, I like to minimize it to an hour because we're all busy people. But we've been meeting every week, so what does Tuesday look like for everyone?
Okay, that can count.
Tuesday the 13th.
Works for me.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes, 1 p.m. at the city building.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, those.
I have a dentist appointment at noon, so if I'm not here right on the dot, just get started and I'll be here. Any questions that I can answer or try to answer right this moment?
Oh, I did have one, did you guys contact the Raptor Center in Pueblo by chance?
Yes.
Yes, they are able to come.
Yep, and they're scheduled to come.
No, they're not able to
Oh,
come.
sorry.
Yeah, they had another.
They have another event.
They do. I wonder if I could talk to Diana. Well, see, I worked with her for 5 years, and I'm wondering if I could talk to Diana
I talked to Diana directly.
and get 2 events going that day.
I talked to Diana directly. They have some big thing in Colorado Springs that day. She said she'll need all her people for.
Oh, she got everybody for it?
Yeah,
what
she
she
said
said.
she needs everybody. It's a big, big deal.
Be back.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get her next year. Yeah, I worked there for 5 years. I love Diana.
Okay. Any other questions?
Do we need to try to come up with something in that morning?
Yes.
Like we talked about maybe a pumpkin decorating contest that they could decorate at home and then bring
Bring
it
in.
to set on tables, or
We could.
that would be easy. I mean, they would be doing all the work, just bring it down. Spider themed, I think anything really, but spider themed would be the best. See what they can come up with.
I think once we work out the general schedule, we need to get down to the nitty gritty. All right, if there's nothing else, thank you, Kelly.
Our meeting was soon.
There we go.
I do have her phone number.
All right, see you then.
Okay.
For the La Junta Tarantula Fest Planning Committee, I'm Adrian Hart with your Southeast Colorado News on seconews.org.